Nice. Beautiful. Bam. Bam, bam, slam, and click. Damn. Boom. All right. Hello? Oh, hello? Oh,
Hello?
yes, I hear something. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's like super
Tired?
late.
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
Somehow. Nice.
Yeah, just suffering through it right now. Yeah.
Congrats on that. I hope your brain is not too fried to receive all the information. So if it's going too fast or if you don't understand, immediately stop me and we'll break it down at that point, okay?
Okay.
Make sure that we don't.
Yeah, yeah. In
Because
in a
we'll
in
be
a
building
fat
on
three
things, right?
hours. Yeah, yeah, in a
Yeah.
fat 3 hours, I'll be at a nice 24-hour stretch. So it's a
Oh,
a nice
cool.
a nice round number.
I guess you might be just off of the feeling super tired now, but that's probably gonna in 2 hours like hit you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like right after this, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
just pass
totally
out.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
worry, I'll upload the session. You can listen to it back, hear how you sound online. Win set
Oh,
that
good.
because everyone loves that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to. Yeah.
Everyone just loves hearing themselves on recordings, almost as much as like seeing yourself on pictures, right?
Yeah, yeah, about equally fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's not waste any more time. Do you have a specific list of questions, or do you just want to go topic by topic and kind of make sure that you get everything straight before we move on to the next one? How do you prefer to do things? Like, what kind of structure works for you?
So like I've written down some questions, but I'm definitely like more like the questions are just more to help me than to really like ask you. You know, it's like so I can organize my thoughts, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Um, so like pretty much, I don't know if this is just a strange thing to do, but
Mm-hmm.
pretty much anytime I want to play a game and like put serious effort into it, I pretty
Mm-hmm.
much like do like a not a full restart, but I want to like create a new identity in that experience, right?
Sure.
Um, so I've played Maple for like God, I don't know, ages, but just like really, really off and on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Korea recently, and I started playing like KMS here.
Yep.
And I kind of getting back into it, and I have this thing where I really don't like doing something that doesn't feel permanent enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna put work into something, I don't like the idea that one day it's just gonna disappear. So like playing KMS for me wasn't really like it kind of tweaked that problem for me where I felt like when I
Yeah.
move back, my Korean phone number goes away and it's just kind of a nightmare to deal with all that stuff.
So everything you were spending time on felt like this is the return on investment is not there.
Yeah, the return on like it. Yeah, it's more so like I think one of the really really cool things about Maple that like really has got me back into it in this past like 2 years is that
Mm-hmm.
it's just like it feels like you're gradually building up towards something and it lasts for like quote unquote ever, right?
Mhm.
With this boycott, who knows? But let's pretend it lasts
Yeah,
forever,
yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Um, so I think for me, it's just like I really like the idea of building up my character, and so that now that I'm coming back to this, my GMS account, I kind of like I'm trying to take what I have on this account from before
Mhm.
and transition this into like a new identity that would eventually become like a new main that is funded by what is my strongest character, which is what I said to you the equips about. So
Yeah. So your Shadower is the strongest, and but when it comes to do does that mean you have a specific plan for your account? Like, because I'm immediately thinking like I want to be able to do everything solo, or is there any specific vision, or I'm
Right.
going to do only things without equipping without making things legendary, or without spending any money, or what are those things that you have, or have you thought about that?
I think so how do I say this? Like it's a really weird thing. Like I'm really good at talking to people in person, but I have
Mhm.
actually really bad social anxiety on the internet, like only
Oh.
on the internet.
Or the other way around?
Yeah,
Most people.
I know it's a really weird thing. I don't really know why.
Uh-huh.
So like I do want to find people to play with,
Mhm.
but just like the idea of that kind of like freaks me out.
Okay.
Uh, So I think like for now, like trying to do things solo, because I know like the early part of the game, like CRA, even like soloing like Lomian is like pretty achievable solo. Like it's not a difficult thing at all.
Depending on factors,
then,
but it's manageable if you
of course, like it's manageable dependent on a bunch of things.
Yeah, infrastructure, personal skill, patience, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to play this game with my elbows, and it really hasn't been working out for me.
Fat fingering everything, yeah.
yeah.
Usually people say that like I'm all thumbs, but you're just all elbows. You're gonna like
I'm all elbows. So I think like being able to like solo bosses, like obviously like just like anyone who plays any game ever, the idea of like killing the big bad by yourself sounds like a really cool thing. But like at this point, like this account is so far in the time loop that would take me like a disgusting amount of time to play to get to that point.
Yep.
So I think like a pretty safe strategy would just be like, I would love to be able to solo pretty much everything past Lomian. Maybe like I even think like soloing Lucid is probably a bit of a stretch. It would take
wait, everything you mean up to and including Lotus and Damien?
Yeah, up to and including Lotus and Damien, I think would be a pretty nice spot. I watched a bunch of like ages ago. I watched a bunch of people do like solo progs, and they usually ended up stopping at Lomian. And I think that just makes sense. Like, I think it would be cool if I could solo Lucid, but the idea of like doing it in a group and then transitioning into doing it solo, like I think that kind of matches. The idea that
there's been some power creep probably since you saw those, like the final damage change to the reboot passive. I don't know if you've caught up on that. Like that's definitely one that's made the jump to go from soloing Lotus and Damien to being able to solo like easy Lucid way more manageable. That plus like the value of the golems not being a stuck lower amount, but just being your full damage. That has allowed people to actually move into like solo easy Lucid, and then maybe from there you have the normal slime as like another step up. From there you can go to solo normal Lucid. I don't know how long this is all going to take, but you're going to get easy Will as well as a boss that might...
Right, because that's coming out in 6 months, right?
Yeah, KMS is having that, yeah. So they are adding more and more difficulties of bosses as like smaller step-ups, so that you can realistically, if you feel like you want to do the whole thing solo, which, generally I'm not trying to press on anyone because it's still an MMO, and I feel like some of the issues come from people trying to solo everything and, not meeting your neighbors and that kind of stuff. If that's a plan that you have, it will feel more and more rewarding, as in the next milestone being more realistically close, rather than, okay, I want to do the next step solo. Okay, like a year from now, playing 4 hours a day, that's going to be the next thing I can do. That might be a bit too extreme.
Yeah, I think like the idea of like it's almost like, I don't know, like based on other MMOs, like you do prog, like it's almost like the reverse, where I do say in WoW, I would do prog with my raid, and then I would do like farm with like just a bunch of randos that I find and like latch together. And so I feel like it's almost like the opposite here, where I am the rando, and it would be fun to do prog by myself and then do farm with other people. I guess that would be the most rewarding, and that kind of comes to like my conundrum, where like obviously Maple's a RPG. Classes are better at certain things. But it's so strange for me because like I feel like there's so many breakpoints in which a class changes, right? So
yeah, because the maps change, and because we've got a trickle down, right? We're a different version of the game and in a different region, so there's a lot of, because of the other parameters, different strengths and weaknesses get exposed at many more different bends and turns than might be initially designed for.
Yeah, and so like a big thing for me that has just been the saddest thing is going from like 5 MS to like 280 MS. It's really painful.
Yeah, I can't even.
Like, yeah, no, it's gross.
I went from like 21 to like mid 60s, and that was already like, yeah, you had to kind of like just let that go. Because 60s, like, well, not in Maple, but like in another game, in like a MOBA. So like low 20s basically still feels it's not quite like 6 or 5 MS, but 20 is still like very good. But then having to deal with like, you know, anywhere from mid 60s to low 80s, that is already noticeable. So yeah, having to go from 5 to like 300, you're just like, wow, okay, it's like my computer is in a different time zone and just waiting
like
for it
a
to
second
respond.
behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A second is an eternity now for inputs to respond. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of funny though, cause like when I started playing GMS maybe about like 2 weeks ago, like actually maybe not even that long, like right after Christmas, and I didn't know about the server instability, so I actually couldn't tell if it was my VPN or if it was the server.
Yeah.
And so it was like a blissful land where I just
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on.
Ignorance is bliss at that point. Kind of just want to power through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like pretty much how I've narrowed this down is like I know my goal right now is to take my shadow art and kind of push it through the immediate lifespan of the character. Not
So you
really
mean-
like investing.
You mean 220 and like finishing out the terror burn benefits and all that, or
Oh, he's not burned. This character's like
this is
8
okay.
million years old.
But did you do a burn like right after Christmas? Did you do that first burn a little bit?
Yeah, I just sauced up a beast tamer because I just didn't have one leveled. And I think it's like 199 right now, so it's pretty close. I'm probably just gonna push it to like 200 and then just do those like games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then so I was thinking of like once I finish that, I'm just gonna decide what I want to play and then start like investing links and figuring this stuff out. It's gonna be like probably Zero or Adele. I started leveling the Zero right now because it's a creation event and you can't burn it anyways. So just getting into that.
And Adele, if it was Adele, you would terror burn that one, or did you already use the current terror burn?
I already used the current terror burn, and yeah, this sounds like kind of a weird thing, but like I know that like you get so much out of terror burn, like you get the nodes, you get the ring, you get so much free stuff, but I feel like I want to enjoy the character enough that I just push it through to 200 and get the experience of that rather than just like blasting it, you know?
Yeah, you get more time to figure out your skills and how to use them properly, and just blasting out the levels. I think it's fine. Like let's say that in KMS you already had like a 240 Adele or something, and you want to also play it on GMS, then you just terror burn it and wade through the bullshit because you've already been there, done that. So you're just trying to get to catch back up to the same point. Then it would make more sense. But yeah, I totally get you. But so the Shadower is like your strongest character now, and that would be used basically as the backbone of the account until another character can take over.
Yeah, I think that's the plan, is that I'll just kind of keep playing the Shadower for now and squeeze as much juice out of it as I can.
And this one's like 225 or something, or what is this guy at? 220?
He's 216.
216, okay.
Yeah, so, but I feel like it has, like, I remember I played this during, like, that strange period of time where you could, like, I had this, like, metal donkey, and I would just put it on my alt key, and then my Kana would teleport around a map, and so I have, like, I remember I fell asleep once.
We went from using VPNs to key waiting to... do you want to just get all the confessions out in the beginning so we can just move past that point? And
Right. I mean, like, it was, what was it called? Suicide Kana? When you would take, like, a
suicide farming,
Suicide farming, yeah. I did that for a while. And so this character has, I feel like, more gear than he should have for the amount of time I've put into this.
Sure.
So I feel like moving forward into 220, like, I'm pretty sure I could get to 220 in, like, a day with enough, like, with 2 totems and some coupons. It wouldn't be that hard.
220 on 2 totems is probably a little bit overzealous.
Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe.
But maybe like 3 or something. 3 or 4 maybe, but like 3 I think could work. Depending on how big your legion is and everything. I don't know if you've got like an 8k legion hidden underneath there somewhere.
Hidden under my 4k legion, I have an 8k legion.
Yeah.
That's the
I bet you were expecting this, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like just trying to squeeze that out, getting as many levels, and then I guess I just need to figure out right now, like, what is the experience of squeezing the juice out of this character. Like, what is my? Because like it almost feels like doing symbols at this point is not super useful. Like obviously, you should always do symbols, but
somewhere.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not sure if the value's there in this character, because it's not intended to have like a great longevity, right?
Sure. Yeah. So you want to determine what is a good positioning for the character, and then how do I settle into that positioning while maintaining overall time management for my entire account, basically.
Yeah, because I've definitely like, and I fall into this in KMS as well, where I pretty much just like have a really bad habit of wanting to just check boxes on my dailies. So like I'll just do everything, which is just like a massive waste of time. And I've watched some of your other videos, and you talk about like how you want to kind of let go of the less valuable dailies and move forward towards the more valuable ones. And that like totally makes sense. I just think that like sometimes it's hard for me, because I'm like, especially on GMS, like I want those reward points. So I'm still killing like really easy almost waste of time bosses at this point, right? Because I want the like 30 points or whatever it is.
Have you well, for that one specifically, have you looked into Maple M?
Yeah, so I can't play it on my phone because I'm in Korea, and so I have to use Korean MapleStory M. I know you can like get a program on your computer that does that.
Yeah, you have phone emulators. I don't know if that would work in a similar way or not. Yeah, since you're in Korea, I don't know what the workaround for that one is exactly. That seems a little bit above my pay grade at the moment, but
yeah.
I imagine with the VPN on, you could make it seem just like you're in the US, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. It's just like I'm not really sure how it interacts with the VPN, because things are really weird in Korea about like even accessing a VPN is really strange.
I guess legally there's a bunch more loopholes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure VPNs are actually like on a gray line in Korea, which is. Yeah.
I mean, most people use VPNs to like bypass region blocks, which is technically for basically it's a TOS of every single thing you're engaging with, because the region blocks are there to protect them from rules and regulations that exist across nations, and if you're bypassing those, you're kind of you're taking that risk upon yourself. But it's not something that any kind of provider for any product kind of wants.
Right. Yeah. It just kind of it eliminates the rules. And Korea's got some interesting internet rules, but.
Yep. I mean, and the rest of the world has an interesting lack of them, so.
Yeah, I guess it's the spectrum of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, internet being much more integrated in society, in one sense, I think provides like a safer environment, but on the other hand, it'll just feel more limiting to if you're not used to that. But like in Belgium and in the Netherlands, there's more and more stuff coming up to protect people online from gambling stuff. So a lot more things in video games are not being made available to us, or games are just shutting down completely, which kind of exposes that those games are basically just gambling simulators that just prey off of people's desire to get lucky. And if those games get shut down or don't become accessible here, I think that's probably in general a good thing. And I think if more governments get on board with that, hopefully it forces devs to just create a different type of product that isn't just a casino, like a sparkling waifu casino, right? Hopefully we get more actual productive games out of it that try to make money because it's a good product, not because people get like addicted to throwing money at it.
It's just so hard to like see that as a consumer sometimes, though, right? Like if somebody snatches away that carrot in front of me, I'm gonna try and find another carrot right away.
Yeah, it's the whole like you think you do, but you don't kind of thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, trust me, I want to spend $10,000 on that triple S rated card.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I saw a weird. There was some kind of, I don't know if it was like my Google feed or something, but there was a article in there that a man got a credit card bill for like $20,000 because his daughter was like going crazy on Genshin Impact on a weekend, and they had like a credit card bill for $20K. So, like that kind of stuff apparently still happens.
Yeah.
My waifu's Pepe hands. Yeah, exactly.
It's like the very leveled up version of like I stole my mom's credit card, but now it's like I stole my mom's credit card and spent 20K on an
Yeah.
anime girl.
Maxed out maxed out all of the limits, yeah,
Yeah.
to get that 6-star whatever it is. Yeah, his
Yeah,
daughter
yeah,
was
yeah.
18 as well, yeah, which, kind of
Oh,
questions
God.
some other stuff. Parenting skills might be
Yeah.
due for a level up as well.
Well, the parenting skills and the maturity for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
You
read
actually
the
see
article
that-
itself, but I mean, it could also be someone with, I don't know, with maybe like a disability or something, and then 18, you
Right.
assume a whole bunch of stuff because of 18, but it might be, there might be other stuff at play. I don't know. I didn't read the whole article, but
You actually see that a lot in Korea. Like you
Mhm.
see that the maturity to age is significantly lower than it was back in Canada.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you spend so much more time with your family here.
Mhm.
So that like exposure of like moving out, going to college somewhere else, like the worldliness
Mhm.
is much more
Like independence and that kind of stuff.
yeah, it just doesn't really exist as much here,
Hmm.
which is really interesting.
Like people in their 20s have no idea. Well, I mean, I think it exists in some groups everywhere. Like people in their late 20s
yeah.
who've never done laundry ever. You're like, okay, this is problematic.
Yeah.
People who've never cooked a meal by the time they hit 30. You're like, oof, this is
My God. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
brutal. It's pretty
like
painful.
if you were born 100 years ago, you'd be dead by now. Like you can't take care of yourself. As
Yeah, yeah.
as a
It's
human.
like the
but-
guy who burns instant noodles, just like
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
You ever see?
we're
Oh
so-
man, there was like this one picture of like these students in a dorm who made pasta and they didn't have a strainer and they made like farfalla, like the little bow ties, and
yeah.
they're quite big, so they used like a tennis racket as a strainer over the sink. I was like, oh god, this is like peak college. Oh my god.
That's good. That's a good look. That's some MacGyver work right there.
Yeah, it's like thinking in solutions. Yeah,
Yeah.
huge
yeah.
brain. These guys are gonna go places. They're probably gonna make an app and sell it to Microsoft for a few million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the world we live in.
yeah. But yeah. So there's no huge overarching restrictions that you've put on yourself in that sense. But in general, you probably be more on the side of not wanting to or trying not to rely on other people for stuff unless it's absolutely necessary, I guess, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to do carries.
Mhm.
That's like the number one thing I wouldn't feel comfortable with doing.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to feel like I cheated myself of any experience. I want to, I want to
Sure.
experience it for myself first. Yeah.
Okay. And for the Shadower, how are you feeling about the Shadower? Like, what position do you think, like, what stuff have you already done with the Shadower? And do you think, I mean, I can talk more probably about, like, the realism of what kind of content you can do with him, but what do you feel is, it comes more to, like, time allocation, right? Because if you're like, okay, I want to be able to maybe, like, duo Lotus and Damien, if I have time for it in the week and just solo everything before that, then we can be pretty close with that, and it can just be a matter of just kind of like min-maxing what you're working on and pointing out like a few short and midterm goals to work on, and then you can be ready with that. Or it can be like, okay, I actually I want to be able to do all the bosses, including Lotus and Damien, but I want to be able to solo all of them like within 30 minutes. Then we're talking about not necessarily that much different type of content, but the engagement with it will be completely different. The amount of funding that you would want would be very different.
Right. First I'd like to establish like where I should push this character. I'm kind of curious as to like where is the sweet spot for this character to provide the most like sustenance to the new character that will be born. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly going to be in the form of boss crystals and in boss drops. Like that's where most of the value will be. And you could, to a certain extent, I mean, you said you didn't want one carry, so I guess that doesn't count for you. But for other people, you might also be able to use it as like an exchange carry vessel, where you carry someone else, they carry you on like a mule that you're not really interested in getting crazy experiences with. If you're trying to like just get baseline funding on characters. Just to get the CRA gear, so it's just way cheaper to fund it. Maybe if you want to go all the way up to 210 for it for level 3 link skill eventually, for example, then it could have value in that sense as well. But until then, it's mainly the boss crystals, which those are hopefully soon getting overhauled, and when the changes from KMS, where the base value is going to go up, and then the value is going to be adjusted weekly based on the frequency that the boss was killed within the server during that week.
Right. Yeah. It's like that on KMS right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that change is something that hasn't gone through yet. We don't really have news on when that's going to happen, but we're kind of just expecting it at any moment.
Is GMS going to get the 180 cap on the?
Yeah, well, that's very, very likely. So what happened is that the account cap already accidentally went through earlier without the 180 cap going through. So we're kind of like 60 account cap for like a week. So they, yeah,
Oh.
welcome to GMS. So they've rolled that back. And there's also already the option to talk to the collector for like the crystal value to see the whole list of the value of all the characters. So it seems very obvious that that's like the next step to be implemented, but everyone's kind of like wondering why hasn't it gone through yet. And it's also kind of part of the boycott is like we want better communication on that and like announcements on what can we expect there, you know, like what's the deal basically.
Right. Yeah, because that's, yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that's not in GMS, but yeah, that's, it's not like it's a game changer, it's just like, why is that not there?
In general, we're just like 6 months behind on that stuff because it was very structurally part of the summer event, so it's part of our winter event, so it has to be squeezed in right around the same time because it's like just interconnected with all the other stuff that goes around during the event period. But it seems that KMS usually does summer and winter events over 3 updates, and GMS typically does it over 2. But it seems that they weren't able to wrap everything into the 2 this time. It seems that some stuff got left behind, and we will need a 3rd update to get everything in there. So that's why a lot of the players are kind of confused because it's very unusual for it to work in this way.
And have they released any information about this 3rd section coming, or is it kind of up in the air right now?
Not yet, no, they haven't. I mean, it's Friday now, so I was kind of hoping that there would be like a pretty substantial post about it. There was something about postponing the maintenance of this week, and there were like a few hot fixes, but nothing specifically catered towards the current demands and the current questions of the community. So hopefully something comes out before the weekend. Yeah, they definitely can afford to just let this linger because the next step is just people quitting and moving on to a different game. And the more people get invested into a different game, the fewer people are coming back. So.
And Lost Ark's coming out soon too.
Which again is blocked in Belgium and the Netherlands, so that's a huge fun time because it's basically just a Gamba simulator, and they didn't want to rewrite it for us. So yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Apparently, not all the aspects are super pay to win, but it kind of depends on what season you're playing or something. There was like a write up from a Korean player.
Yeah.
But
season 1 was a tragic fiasco. But...
Okay. I saw season 1 and like 3 or 2.5 or whatever it was called.
But yeah, the transition out of 2 was really interesting as well. I think what they're doing is they just like try and fund the next season by
the R&D for the next one. It's like, okay, we need more budget. Let's throw some Gamba at them. It's basically like a seeding round. Yeah, it's a seeding round for.
Yeah.
What do they call it? It's like so like season 1 was basically like the angel investors, and then the.
yeah, that's the one.
You want to get some equity and
Yeah, if you pay like $800,000, you'll get like a smiling figurine that you can put on your desk. Like,
so
there you go.
Maybe they'll just release Lost Ark under the working title like Lost Morals or something like that. Where it's like,
that's the dev edition. That's the unique one.
Nice. That's if you log into like the test server. It's called like Lost Morals. So like on the top left, that's like the name of the window, the alpha version. Okay, to make sure that we keep on track and get through everything, because there's always a lot to go through. So we're about a third of the way. So sweet spot, right, is what you're looking at. So crystal value, and then the main thing that's also different in GMS is that you can expect way more drops from bosses, even compared to KMS Reboot, because we have different ways of drop rate stacking, and it stacks up to way higher than KMS ever does, and because we have familiars with that. So like some bosses are going to be way easier eventually because of healing familiars. In general, the progression and getting backups is way easier because of familiar drop rate that stacks with all the drop rate that we have, higher than the max that KMS has. And IED is way more accessible because of familiars and because of the Golux set when that gets online. And and level 3 link skills, of course, right? That's another big thing over KMS. Yeah.
Attack speed cap is nice as well.
Yeah, and attack speed cap is a big thing. So those are general things to keep in mind with everything, of course. So the main thing, I think the sweet spot would be to definitely be able to kill CRA quickly, and then see if you want to from there move on to like the next batch of bosses, which is HMAG, Akechi, CPAP. HMAG should be pretty doable as a Shadower because you have the knockdown resistance in your Assassinate, and knockdown is like the main way to basically just counter HMAG. So if you learn that properly, that should be a boss that's pretty easy to get to and to be able to kill if you're able to do CRA, including CVEL, realistically. The main thing would be to work on your IED, like judging by the stat window. That's probably the main thing that needs work to be able to confirm your damage to the bosses, right?
Yeah.
Akechi is not that difficult either. He's just a bit annoying, but once you get him down, it's just a big crystal value for a short amount of time as well. CPAP might be the one where you have to choose, do one want to commit the time in the week, every single week to do this? It's a good crystal value. It has a chance for the PAP mark, but if your character is being parked here and doesn't really benefit much from the PAP mark, that's the one where you kind of have to decide, do I want to be able to do like CPAP in a reasonable amount of time, and then from there move on to also including Lotus and Damien, or am I okay for now to just doing up to HMAG and Akechi, and then just kind of getting settled into the character at this stage, work on other stuff, and then kind of see what does my account need. Do I want to build up, then step into those shoes and increase the funding and make sure that you can pick up those into the rotation. The other thing that will also greatly impact that is if you're in a guild or not, with guild skills or not. If that's going to be like one small step that you can set. You probably will have to meet some requirements for the guild, but getting access to guild skills will already be a huge chunk of the funding that will help you get closer and closer to that point.
Yeah, because guild skills are they're super strong.
Yeah, they're just broken. Very quickly, any guild that's even somewhat active can very quickly get to 30% critical damage and 30% damage.
And those are those are like half uptime, right? They have like the
half hour
cooldown,
uptime for hour cooldown.
duration.
Yes,
Nice.
yes. At max level, yeah. The lower the level is, the shorter the uptime and the longer the cooldown. So the total uptime percentage goes down quite a lot if it's not maxed.
Yeah. I feel like CPAP's a fun boss, but it sounds like it'd be a nightmare on a Shadower.
I think it depends on how good you are. Like you'd want like a lot of short duration iframes over really long cooldown, really long duration iframes if you could choose, honestly. And with what is it, Trick Blade, if you can do that properly, you have that in the kit.
Great, it's super short cooldown, yeah.
And I think Darkside also makes it so that you can stand in the rifts on the ground. At least that's what people gave me as feedback for the Nightlord progression session that we had recently. So I think that Shadower does have a decent kit. The main thing that you have to worry about is like the hands grabbing you and the positioning on those. And then of course like the big beams of the clocks touching. Those are the main important things. But once you learn to play around those, you should be... I don't think it should be terribly difficult, but going past that to being able to do Lotus and Damien solo, that is definitely a big jump. But, if you're in a guild, and being able to duo those is probably very, very close after that. But yeah, that could be once you get your time management a little bit more under control of all the things that you want to do in a week. You'll be able to have the picture clear if that's like a small next step to make, or if that's a substantial investment that you don't want to make, and that would take too much investment away from your from whatever main that you choose. Because the main thing is nodes, right? You're gonna have to, if you spread yourself too thin in the beginning, the progress on nodes is going to get severely hampered. Plus, if you don't want to slow down the progress on symbols, doing symbols on multiple characters, especially in the beginning, is very time consuming compared to how much you could gain and fund your entire account by working on Legion and Links instead.
Right. Just before we move on to something else, just
Sure.
while this is in my head, what do you think would be better, like a smoother progression into, like, if we're using the Shadower to juice, what do you think would be a bit smoother in terms of like using, because like I know that Kana is getting nerfed, and I just don't want to play a Kana. I just don't really like the class that much.
Okay.
I know that like farming on it is super nice. Isn't Kishin getting like gunned?
We don't know. The only other different version of Kishin that we know, I think, is in JMS, where you basically have to stack 5 Kanas together, get the same effect as now.
Ew.
So that's like the only one we know of. So that feels kind of like the only one that people are anticipating, or like worst case scenario that people are thinking, because that's really all we know from like any other version of the game. But we haven't had specific communication yet on what they're going to do with it, but it should be released pretty soon. Yeah.
Okay, so I think like for me, I would really want to have like, I would want like, and both these characters, like both Adele and Zero, farm really well.
Adele faster than Zero, and then Zero overtakes it in as long as the map specifically allows it to. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zero is like the most brain dead mobber I've ever seen in my life.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing. Like you can always like strap on a YouTube video and just AFK for
depends on what you want.
Which is totally fine.
Maybe not the best use of strap on, but go on.
We don't need to talk about the uses of strap-ons here.
To continue, yes.
I'm just thinking, like, I know Adele is broken. Like, I know it's super strong. I think it just got nerfed, but it's still super strong, right? Is it stronger in GMS because of attack speed?
Adele?
Yeah.
A bit. I mean, I would assume, right? I haven't played KMS, but it's like the cleave is faster. And the main thing, so the general thing with attack speed being higher is not as much the amount of attacks per minute, because it is a pretty small difference. The main thing is that all of your animations are faster, so you're able to jump out of the way for attacks more easily, respond faster, and therefore your survivability comes into play more, and you can hit more reliably, confirm your damage more reliably, because your repositioning doesn't take as long and can be done more instantaneous. But the downside is the ping, so maybe that kind of cancels that out if you're at like close to 300 ping, right?
Yeah, any benefit I get is not existent. So I guess I just want to think like if my goal is to kind of like be able to solo Lomian and maybe solo like Easy Lucid or like Easy Will, something like that, like move forward towards that.
You're talking about the Adele now, right? Not on the Shadower. Yeah, okay.
Not the Shadower, yeah. I assume Adele is just better for that path because its damage is higher, right?
That is Zero, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And Zero is just like effectively weaker at farming as well until like considerably later for specific maps.
Yeah, I think in like Arcana, it definitely starts hardcore popping off. Like there's some Arcana maps that are just like long flat maps where you just throw your tornadoes out, and if you're funded enough to kill with those, you can get crazy rates there.
And there's that
with very little
map
input.
That's obscene too, right?
Yeah, like in Moonbridge, I think, right?
Moonbridge, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's part of Tenebris, so not trying to correct you, just specifying.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the names are in English. So.
Oh yeah, of course,
Tenebris.
Yeah. Tenebris is like the collection of the blob on the top right of the Arcane River map.
Yeah.
And then you have Moonbridge, Labyrinth, and Limina as the areas in there.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I saw that there was a map there that's really good. But like they both farm really fast. Like even if Zero's a bit faster later on, like I feel like meso farming on a main as either Adele or Zero is totally feasible.
Works. Yeah, totally feasible.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Like how much would I be shooting myself in the foot not pushing a Kana right now? Like is it really that big of a difference?
I would say the main deciding factor there is on how quickly we hear about the nerf and how big that nerf is going to be on Kishin. That would be the main deciding factor there, and I have no information on that.
There's no answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would decide how big of a shoot yourself in the foot is, because especially if you terror burn it, because that would mean the opportunity cost of everything that you lose off of launching your Adele would be greater if a really big nerf happens in a really short time. Kana would definitely still be a good place, but that just means that you would have to probably, depending on how bad it is, start dedicating totems to the Kana instead of to the Adele. So you'd end up in like a very similar situation, maybe even have slightly better mobbing. But for bossing, especially on the solo aspect, you would be slowing yourself down a whole lot, because kind of solo bossing definitely takes longer to to launch, plus the ID and the crit rate are
it's horrible.
notoriously horrible for Kana compared to an Adele, for example. So that would take much longer, but that would just mean you're relegated more to like duoing bosses, or to join a guild and to join like to see if you can get struggle groups or stuff like that on off the ground. But you already said that you're like not super into that, so I feel like that's a bit more of a risky play.
Yeah, I think that's the other issue I have with Zero too, because I know Zero's like a support pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is a support,
primarily
it's not
support.
even
Yeah.
ranged, yeah.
Farmer and support. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, pushing a Zero would be good because it can farm, and I could like I could do bossing, but I don't think it meets that requirement of like wanting to initially do bosses by myself first, and then doing bosses as a group second. So it's probably
you'd have to be a bit more overfunded to kind of like work your way back when you're kind of already past it, compared to the Adele. Yeah, even when Adele just came out and I was horrible with it, and Adele has gotten nerfed since then, not insanely, but it's definitely gotten considerable nerf since then. Yeah, I like level 206 or something, and I think I soloed CRA on the Adele at like, I don't know, I don't think it was even 7k stat. And I look back at the video recently, oh my god, I played it so badly. Like, I had no mechanical skill with that class whatsoever. It's actually painful to watch it back. But even then, I think I only failed like once or twice, and I was able to solo the 4-door. So, I mean, that's of course carried by Legion and Lynx, but I think it's even without without guild skill. So, yeah, there's definitely, that character is kind of cracked.
It's really strong.
Yeah.
So there are I've never played Adele. I have no idea what the class is like. I played it as a Link, and I just hit the mobbing skill all the way to like Link level 2, and then I buried it really fast. Like, is there actual bossing like mechanics other than just hitting cleave over and over?
Yeah. So a lot of it comes down to making sure that your noble summons and Etherbloom, that combination fully hits.
Yep.
And the more wiggly the boss is, the more particular your timing is on that, because that's a huge DPS increase if you can make that reliable hit. But there's a bunch of bosses that will move out of the way a lot and teleport and stuff and be like, oh, Etherbloom, let me just teleport out of that, and all the damage goes away. So like your timing on that is important. And the other thing is, of course, keeping your hunting decree swords up at all times is important. And then the kind of like side mini game that you're playing is making sure you always keep the stacks up for the resonance rush, for the extra IED and the final damage. That's pretty important. Yeah. And you can also use it as your repositioning, of course. Yeah, but if you don't do all of that, you probably will still be okay. But if you learn to do that better, you will stay okay for longer. As the bosses progress in difficulty, you won't get hit as much with like, oh my god, this boss starts getting... It'll take longer for the bosses to get significantly harder, I guess.
Okay. I think that kind of fits even better as well, because like with Zero, I would not only have to learn the boss, I would have to learn how to like pilot Zero in a specific boss fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that
and Adele's difficulty level there is definitely lower.
Yeah.
Which means you can focus more on, on your positioning and on like the exceptions, rather than constantly needing to learn for every single situation where to stand and where to move and what to do. And you've got like Plummet on virtually no cooldown. That's like a knockdown resistance if you need it. You've got the feather float, right? Like the back dash that kind of functions as a teleport that you can use to get through the Lotus Laser once you get to that, which is a very easy tool of just staying on the bottom and optimizing way more damage. I think Zero can in some way also do that, because they've got like a shield thing and they've got the tag thing where they don't take full damage and everything. But being able to just reliably do it,
Yeah.
Just cleave.
Just cleave. Adele definitely seems to be the play. I did burn a Beast Tamer, so I will push that through. And then should I just like, after that's done, should I just like smash out this Adele to 200, start getting symbols, and then pushing the Shadower up until what is effectively killing CRA quickly?
Wait, did you say you already used the current Terra Burn?
Yeah, I did on Beast Tamer, but it's only like 180.
Oh, wait, what was the last one then that you used? The one
I didn't play.
Oh, okay, so you started on like the 28th or the 29th, like right as the first Terra Burn was ending?
I turned on the 26th. I burned a marksman. I got it to 150, and then the terror burn ended.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I confused. I thought the Beast Tamer was from that one before, and that you were using one, trying to get one now. Okay. That makes sense. So are you?
Yeah,
So there is still value if you can get the Beast Tamer all the way to 220 for the Burninator box. Like the value at 215 and at 220, right? That's also still something to think about if you care about like the fake soul lab and stuff, because that can basically mean that you don't have to invest in a weapon at all, either until you plan on getting like a fully upgraded Abzo, or if you just want to get an arcane weapon. Until then, you basically only just have to throw some flames at the fake Abzo weapon, and it saves you quite a bit of money. That could be like billions saved, basically.
Yeah, which is super nice, especially just starting something fresh, right?
And unironically, Beast Tamer burst is actually kind of high and could be like a CRA bossing mule if you wanted it to be as well.
What are you supposed to boss with on Beast Tamer? Just kind of off topic, but like Hawk is obviously disgusting for farming. But what is?
Yeah, some people prefer just Arc all the way. I was used to Bear, so I used Bear mode. But I think you can do both. You just generally don't do Snow Leopard at all, but like it's either Hawk or Bear. It kind of depends on which bosses you mainly do. And I think once you get far enough, I think people love Hawk more for the mobility and the survivability that comes from the mobility rather than Bear, because it's a bit more sluggish. But I think if your survivability is there and your skill is there, then I think Bear damage is technically better if you are skilled with the class, I think.
Okay.
That's like how I understand it at this point, at least. One of the two Beast Tamers who play in Endgame, feel free to correct me, okay? Might be three at this point, sorry. I don't want to undersell it.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm turning anything into a bossing wheel, like say I get it to 220, I eventually want to turn it into a bossing wheel. It's pretty much just like kill CRA and log off for the week, right?
Yeah, well, that's the term bossing wheel is also a little bit ambiguous. Some people, I think most people who are like late game, end game players, when they say bossing wheel, they probably mean including like Lotus and Damien and everything below that to kill it faster. But it definitely depends on, is the character going to be like 225, 230 in a guild with an 8k Legion and all the links available? Then that is a reasonable goal to set. But like at an earlier stage of your account, yeah, like CRA and maybe a few bosses below that. Maybe you add like like Chaos Ping Bean, those kind of bosses that are like just below but that have a good weekly value, right? Like Normal Cygnus, Hardhilla, like those bosses. And Czak, those are definitely still bosses around the same area that have good crystal value for the time invested.
Okay.
Because then you're going from like 200 mil to 400, or with the changes going from like 350 to 700 or something. Yeah.
Just huge. The Fake Soul Lab box, can I transfer that between characters? You could in KMS, I don't know if
yes, yeah, it's transferable, and then once you, on the character that you try to open it, it'll give you the option for any kind of weapon that the character itself can equip, yeah.
Okay, so pretty much like the short-term goal for me then should just be get this Beast Tamer to 220 as fast as...
There's another one, right? For because Lara just came out for GMS. If you get Lara all the way to 220, there's a box for that as well, if you want it.
Yeah, I guess I could blast Laura up to 220.
Because it's a strong class as well. Yeah.
Insanely fast.
That one might be even easier than the Beast Tamer to 220, to be fair.
yeah, it's probably true.
Even though it's not terror burn, because the support you get in Lara, you get so much. You get boxes with symbols, with nodes. You get EXP box and stuff. Like Lara will also level very quickly.
Yeah, and I guess once you get it to 200, it's just the exact same thing as a burn character anyways, right?
Yep, pretty much. You get temporary Fafnir, like you get all of it. And there's technically a third box as well if you want that one, but I don't know if you have enough time for that one, for getting a Pathfinder in Maple M to 140.
No, I'll stick with the...
No, just giving you the options,
Yeah.
But I think I don't know how much longer that is. I think that's pretty close, so... That's probably not going to be an option. But like the Lara one is also an option if you want. Because if a character is going to be a bossing mule, then that weapon is perfect. Because it just excludes all money you have to throw at it. And it's definitely going to be strong enough to kill everything up to like Lotus and Damien and below that. So.
And I could also just like take the abs... Wait, can I get the box that's Abso and Dom? Can I get it? Can I get the Abso weapon on one and the Dom on the other?
You could if you
Or
want to, yeah, but Dom is typically not something to aim for in GMS. It can be good as like temp gear on like a bossing mule if you know that the character isn't going to be surpassing, but I would always value getting an fake Zoe Lab weapon on 2 different characters over getting a fake Zoe and a Dom on 1 character, I think.
Okay, so you would say like the quote unquote like optimal play here would be finish the Beast Tamer, get it to 220, get the fake Zoe Lab box, get Laura to 220, decide which one should be a bossing mule, and then take that box on the one that's not a bossing mule and toss it onto the Adele.
Take the box on the one that's not a bossing mule and give that to... Yeah, that would be solid options, yeah.
Okay.
And they're freely transferable, so yeah, wherever you want to take it, yeah.
Yeah, and then the priority should be, because these are like time-gated events,
yeah,
and making an Adele is not time-gated, I should probably do Beast Tamer now, then Laura right away, and then immediately go into the Adele after that. Or do you think that Legion takes a priority to the Adele? Because again, it's not like I'm not in a rush to make it.
I would say the starting the Adele, like, and getting at least to like 210 is probably priority, so you can at least start doing dailies in 2 areas, because you just want those symbols to start building up as fast as possible. Plus, you're kind of time gated on the Adele a little bit because of the events right now, right? You want to get stuff like a soul weapon box and stuff like that, and maybe some extra nodes if you haven't bought them yet. Probably want to buy them on Adele to kind of like fast track your progression into 5th job, and you'll need the pink beans to be able to do that. So
okay, so then what should be my priority right now? Like, what should be the #1 thing I'm working on?
Number 1 is I would say probably just starting the Adele, and then the Beast. I would probably, I don't even know, like I would probably do the Lara first. Even though the Beast Tamer feels like it's much closer, I would think the Lara actually will get there faster.
That's so painful.
But for the Beast Tamer, what you can do is you could just do the like the puzzle game and stuff, just to get the 2 levels, and maybe do Monster Park or something to get the Monster Park clears. Or you can start doing the Monster Park clears on the Adele, right? To start working on the 7-day Monster Parker medal. But then the Beast Tamer, there's always events like that where you can get like 8 free levels from like potions up to 200. Because I don't know if the 2 weapon, if you really feel like the value in the 2nd weapon is there, then I would like between the Lara and the Beast Tamer, whichever you want to do for whichever furry character you want to level up first. I mean, it's basically it's pretty much
got some good options there.
Yeah, you got all everything you can need right there. You go for the sheep. Do we go for the birds? Whatever we want. Whatever the flavor of the day is. But I think it's a good thing to start getting the Adele at least to like 210 to start opening up. But if you feel like it's slowing you down too much and you're getting too close to like the end of the event and the other ones aren't close yet, then it's okay to put the Adele a little bit on the back burner. But I think the faster you can start doing symbol dailies there, because like you said, symbol dailies are very important to do, and you want to be doing them on a character at all times at least. And right now, the Shadower doesn't seem like a super important character to do them on, so it might be that as soon as you get the Adele installed and you get that rhythm in, then you can spend the rest of your time doing a bit more like Beast Tamer and Lara, and after that a bit more Legion, and then once the event's over and everything, relegate it more to like just Legion and the Adele, and then a little bit of weeklies on Shadower or any other character that you want to do at that point. Maybe Lara or something, because she's pretty strong too.
Yeah, so okay, so that makes sense. Speaking about like events and dailies, I definitely get kind of bogged down with like, okay, I want to get as many coins as possible, so I'm like, right now I'm playing my Shadower and my Beast Tamer, and
what coins?
Leveling my 0.
Legion coins, or
sorry, pink beans.
Beans, right? Okay, yeah.
In my head, they're just
no, I get it. Just to clarify, okay, yeah.
So like, is it actually valuable for me to log on and make sure I get my beans on 3 characters? Because I know you can like, I can buy nodes and then just transfer them over, right? Is that possible?
The nodes in this shop, I am not sure. There's a very limited amount of nodes as well. So if you're mainly going for the nodes, you can be done very quickly.
And then just like symbols as well, right? I could just like
keep
tapping on my beans and then buy that and then transfer it over to my Adele to kind of like fast forward that awful like beginning getting.
The symbols are non-transferable.
Ew.
So you have to buy them on the character because you have to have completed the pre-quest in the area. Otherwise, you can't even buy the symbols for that area on that character.
Oh, okay.
So that's another reason why I say like try to get the 210 in so that you can at least
Yeah.
buy also like the symbols so you can just fast track hardcore your Venturing Journey and your Choo-Choo so you can get a really good foundation of arcane power immediately. And then take a little bit foot off the gas, work on the other stuff so that when you fund the character, you immediately keep going and you don't have to like, once you get the Arcana, be like, okay, now I can already not kill things anymore because all of the built up arcane power will help you over that hump, basically.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Another thing, I'm just gonna keep saying this forever. Another thing that I've been thinking about is like, when you are just like leveling a character, how do I describe this? How do you, without Legion, because obviously my Legion's not anything spectacular, how do you kind of go about funding this character so that it's not like pulling teeth to get it to 210 or 220, but I also don't want to like dump a bunch of my incredibly limited mezzo right now on it.
So now we're back at the Shadower? Or
just like even Beast Tamer or Laura, like
sure.
How much investment should I be thinking about putting into those characters outside of like 10 Star Force, 6% epic pot?
Yeah, the main thing, so that's like a really good start. Your WSE is going to be important, right? At least 6% magic attack or weapon attack on there is going to be very important. Putting all your link skills that you have available on there. Monster Park potions are beneficial, and getting as many EXP coupons as possible that you can get on there. That's going to be solid foundation. And then you're setting your Legion to the character. Legion is going to be very important. If you need the crit rate, focus on the crit rate for sure. But if you don't need the crit rate, throw everything into critical damage that you can.
Okay.
Other than that, part of it is just not over-investing, and just if it's a bit slow, just throw more hours at it.
I guess that's the thing, right? Like you just have to.
Because it'll feel faster when you over-invest, but then since it's not permanent, and that's like a thing that you don't like, right? Because that ROI isn't there anymore at that point.
Right. Speaking of ROI and investment, Fairy Heart.
Yeah.
Should I be saving my mezzo for it at this point, or should I just try and quickly turn my mezzo into some kind of gains right now? Because I am bad for spending money on a whim. I made a 0 and I have a 17-star weapon, and he's level 140.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily terrible, but I get what you mean. So there's one major caveat, and that's the Wondroid event. I don't know to which extent you're familiar with that.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so, well, you say of course, but you're in Korea, so there was some Koreans in the chat who were like, what the fuck? But yeah, you played long before you went to Korea, yeah. So if that comes around, that seems to like to come around like February or March. So we could be, last time when Wondroid was coming, February or March, they for some reason weren't able to put the Fairy Heart in the shop. I think the main reason was because they didn't want to announce that it was coming, but also not make people pay 2 bill and then have like, hey, there's a jump quest for a heart right after that, because that would make people feel shitty. Despite a lot of people feeling like the jump quest is too hard somehow. I don't think I'm like a god at jump quest, but I feel like after a while you get it. That all aside, that's the major. That's like the major caveat there. I would, in general, I would say it's probably worth it because it's just so much access to damage that you cannot get in any other way, except for Wondroid. But if then Wondroid comes out right after that, it's definitely going to feel like a setback. Especially if you feel like you want to min-max and get the other Android and the other heart that gives a little bit more stat. But it would probably be worth it. But 2 bill, yeah, I don't know. If you're doing Ursus and you're doing Maple Tour and stuff. That's like a bill a week already without doing any other fancy stuff. So you definitely have the money by the end of the event. But I would lean towards yes, but with the one thing that if Wondroid does pop up, then apparently that was the bad call. But we don't have that information now, so
Yeah, and I guess it's just like it's like 100%, right? Like buying this is 100%. I don't have to think about anything else. It's done, and that's over with. I wouldn't like. I'm pretty. Isn't it just like 10 stat and 2 weapon attack or something like that?
Yeah, and the higher level androids also come with a 5 weapon and magic attack buff. The androids themselves, so that would be added to it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like it, but it's not it's not the end of the world.
For endgame, it's significant enough to upgrade, but in your stage of the game, it's nothing insane to worry about. No, definitely not.
Okay.
It goes 15 stars instead of 8 stars. Yeah, that's also true. So the all stats on the upgrading is a little bit different. Total star force is therefore a little bit different. So the Legion coins is a little bit, it's a lot of small things piled together that make it significant enough, but, versus having one or not having one, that's a way bigger difference.
Okay. And then, worst case scenario, it comes out, and I just do the jump quest. 2 bill at the end of the day is not really that insane. Oh, what is this? Is this a note from? Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I said they should say something before the end of Friday. Well, let's see. It seems like a very short note. A note that they've received our complaints and are working on it. That's probably going to be it. But it's better than nothing. It's infinitely better than just nothing. Okay, but do continue. We're about hour in for reference.
I'm just trying to get through the process of okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. So I'm making my Adele, I'm literally gonna make it right after we hang up. Then we start pumping that, get it to 210, start working on my symbols. Try and get the beans. Probably I'll try and get the beans on my shadow every day, because on the 12th, the cap will be set to diamond, and I can use the speedy level up system again.
So you're mainly gonna use it for ranking up and getting the rewards and the rank up, so you can get the event ring on the Adele and the legendary scroll and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just to make sure I get those, and also the nodestone box as soon as possible seems like it would be pretty useful.
Nodestone box. Oh, right. That's one of the rewards in the.
Yeah, the Mitra. Yeah.
Yeah, I've already picked everything up immediately when it was available. Oh yeah, there's 2000s and then 2 superior.
Yeah, so I actually haven't.
Oh yeah, there's a box here. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like grabbing that would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just keep doing that. Keep doing the basic dailies, capping beans on my shadower every day. Do you think it's worth doing the bosses for the daily crystals? Or should I just spend that time blasting levels?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I think that loses its shine very, very quickly unless you're a super casual player.
Right.
As soon as you start scaling up, I feel like that daily loses a lot of its value very quickly. You can definitely make an exception for normal Queen, normal Vellum, and normal Magnus because of the soul shards.
Okay.
Yeah, but until you have a decent amount of drop rate, I also don't know how valuable that is for your time. If you don't have any kind of drop rate multiplier, there's a good chance you get 0 or 1 shard there. Might be better just brute force first, get a lot stronger, so it's mainly just enter the boss fight, 1 skill, dead, and move on. And once you get more drop rate that you're guaranteed 2 or 3 shards, then the value per time spent is going to go up quite a lot. And you've got enough other stuff to do, so that I'll probably put it on a lower. If you got time left in the day, you don't really feel like doing anything else, you can squeeze them in. But I wouldn't put them very high on the list.
Okay, so levels are much more important right now.
Yeah, something like Arcarium or something is probably more important to start doing earlier, right? Because of access to Dominators and to Primals and that kind of stuff. That'll be more important.
Okay. Okay, I got that. Another thing I'm curious about is, I was looking at this sheet, sheet that someone had online on Reddit, and it was a gear progression video, and it said the baseline for gear is you want to have your WSC 6%, your 6% stat on everything, and then work towards legendary meso and drop. Should that really be the first step for a character, making sure we got the 100% meso, the 60 drop all set up?
I would probably push the WSE a little bit before getting that on the accessories, at least to unique, because those will carry your damage quite a bit early. But I think mainly if your main character is the one that's going to generate the most income on your training and everything, I would say it's the next step right after that, yeah. I'm saying that because early on, usually when it comes to symbols and nodes, that's not going to be as developed, so your WSE is going to have to carry more of the damage. And the other step is that you don't want to move into unique or legendary accessories first and roll them for damage, because then you'll come to rely on that damage, and then moving out of that damage for drop and meso later is going to feel bad. But if you're moving from epic straight into legendary items one at a time with meso obtain or drop rate, alongside the meso and drop, you can still get like 6% all stat or 9% stat, which would mean it's either a net wash or an increase in damage at the same time. And that way you'll learn to more rely on your damage on your WSE, your nodes, and your symbols while you're building those up, and not really take a hit in damage. Because, you know, that's like psychologically also a thing that you don't want to have to deal with if you don't absolutely have to.
Hurts.
Yeah. Well, just knowing that number is lower is always going to be in the back of your mind, like, those numbers could be bigger right now, damn.
Yeah.
But it'll help give you more value from training. You'll just see number go up and be like, okay, if I throw a totem up, that just means that we're moving forward this much, and it was just, instant gratification.
So for like that legend, I get a legendary pot scroll for like an event as part of the event shop. Should I just turn that into like probably drop or meso? Just whatever I get.
It's perfectly fine to work at like hybrid gear in the beginning. Like try to go for one line of drop or meso plus some stat on it. If you end up just rolling drop or meso no stat, you definitely want to keep that in the beginning until you start generating income. But eventually you want to see if you can also get at least one line of main stat on everything, because it's 9 equips. If they all have a line of 9 stat, that's 81% stat that you're just kind of missing out on if you don't have that on all the pieces, right?
Okay. Cool. I just have 2 more questions left that I was kind of curious about. One is, I guess it's kind of a combined thing. Oh god, I have 3. Never mind. The first one is monster.
Sorry, I really can't do 3. 2 is the no. Okay. Just gonna go ahead, go for it.
I was like, all right, fair enough.
No, just go for it. We're good. We still have like 25 minutes, so we're totally fine.
Okay, we're good. Monster collection is a very strange system because it's very different in KMS. That, like, what it gives you is different. Because I don't need the reward points in KMS, right? Like I'm not going towards totems, so it's not like I have to get so many.
You're doing for traits or for chance of cubes and that kind of stuff, or?
Yeah, so that's what I did it for in KMS.
Potential scrolls.
Here I want the reward points.
Yeah.
Like, as many as I possibly can. How do you get more monsters?
Yeah, it's basically just kill monsters, and there's a chance to add them. The archer link increases the chance, so and it also gets crit rate, so that's usually pretty early on the list. So you probably have access to that, right?
Yeah, I think I have level 4 on it right now.
Yeah, no Pathfinder yet, but that's the fastest one of the 3, so that should be simple. And I have a video on that !RP or !reward points that talks about how you can optimize your reward points for your totems. So it talks about like bosses, it talks about monster collection, and it talks about Maple M, which I guess now that's the 3rd one that we kind of went through in this whole thing. And the video should pop up momentarily.
Did I type wrong?
Come on, Stream Elements, you can do it. I believe in you. Cool. Look, I'm going to do it and it's going to pop up, watch. Stream Elements, hello?
It's okay. I'm sure I could find it. I'll take a gander for it after. So it's like there's pretty much no like system to this. It's just kill high level mobs.
So for monster collection there is there's a link there to a guide on another website that talks about what was it called? Fury Totem was it called? Yeah. That talks about like which sets are the easiest to complete and where you can get them, so you can make sure that you can hit like a good threshold of a certain amount of monsters, so that you can start with good collection sets, exploration sets, so you can immediately start gathering reward points from them.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
That's
that already existed, so I wasn't gonna like reinvent the wheel. I'll just link to that and let that guide have its value and
Okay, perfect. And another thing is familiars. So
Yeah.
I was watching a bunch of videos online, and like obviously anytime with any game you go on Reddit for information, and some guys like you can only farm familiars at like level 200 and like 9,000, and you can only farm this one kind of familiar, and you have to have like 9 Canna farmers farming them. Like,
Balanced and
like
fair feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like an interim? Like, obviously, I want to start getting Mezzo. I want to start getting Drop. Is there an interim place that I can look for familiars that's not like Moonbridge familiars or something like that? Like, where should I be looking for to farm familiars to get Drop? Because I have the legacy ones, but
yeah. So that's a good start. You have the spider.
But not on my Adele, that's the problem.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so the best thing you can basically get early on is increases item drop rate on a rare familiar. That would be like the best thing you can get in before you get to Moonbridge, basically. With like,
it's that bad, hey?
Yeah, or like a 1 in a bajillion chance if you like open up a booster pack, get an epic, reveal the epic, and then either get the same line as a spider or increases drop rate by a large amount, but that is very, very low chance. So basically, the drop rate wise, the only thing you're going to be relying on increases drop rate increases Mezzo drop rate or increases item drop rate, pretty much that. And that's from rare cards, and then common and rare drop pretty much everywhere. But they stop where you probably need them the most. But if you're working more on your Legion and your Links, they'll all get cards wherever they are. And then the main thing early on that I usually advise is to just throw those all in storage that you get from working on Legion and on other characters, and funnel them all into whatever character needs them. And basically just look for any kind of drop rate and any kind of 15% IED lines. And that's it. Anything you open that's not that, just extract it. And if you want, you can buy booster packs with it for like a Hail Mary. Because, you know, for leveling up familiars, you need the same familiars to be fused together. It doesn't there's no rules to say that you can't like level up 3 different types, but the more different types you do, the more thinly you spread yourself, and the harder it is to level them up and get like a total amount. So you typically want to specify only just 1 or 2 types in a map where you're training for long term, and it's gonna be Moonbridge. Some people do. Some people train in Morass, because Morass also drops them. So some people go to the spiders and morass, maybe take a little bit of hit in certain rates, but you know, there's still droplets, there's still nodes, there's monster cards, so there's added value for that. So some people stay at the spiders MTS 234 a little bit longer.
Okay.
But the main thing I wanted to mention is exclamation mark familiars goes into that as well. Until breaks it all down. You want to go? What was the thing I was gonna mention? You're talking about getting drop rate. You're talking about what is useful early on. Maybe it'll come to me.
Okay. So as far as I can understand, I have this really bad habit of like.
Wait, is there like a really big delay? Didn't I just mention spiders like 15 seconds ago, and now 2 people are typing in chat? Can you guys refresh the chat? See if maybe the stream is more delayed for you guys. Sorry.
Okay, oh god, now I forgot what I was talking about.
Ha! Gotcha, sorry.
No.
Yeah, 3 questions. One was, I already forgot. Second one was familiars.
Monster collection, second one was familiars. There was another idea on the hinge of that familiars idea, but it's completely out of my brain, so I guess we'll just move on to the last one.
Was it connected to the Legion and Links that I talked about ranking them up? About getting drop rate from them? Getting drop rate from your inner ability? Maybe?
I don't remember. Remember. It was related to that, but I can't. Yeah, it's gone.
Okay. Sure.
The last thing I want to ask about is kind of like, it's strange for me because in KMS, like everyone was really excited about the Dawn set. Because it's a much bigger deal in KMS than it is in GMS, right? Because there is Gollux.
Gollux and Sweetwater, yeah.
Yeah, so I hate Commerci.
Sure.
I'm not sure why, but it is awful.
There is a way. There is a way to avoid as much as possible of it, yeah. If you.
Okay, yeah. So my curiosity is like, is it possible to go from like the boss set and then just forget Sweetwater exists and just pretend I'm gonna get a pitch drop. Can I just run the boss set for the rest of my life, or like Dawn set when it's
Yeah, so
playable?
it's very close if you want to do Black Beam Mark or Chaos Beam Mark, whichever one it is that drops now. Because that one can go up to 20 as well. Gets Flame Advantage, is still part of the boss accessory set, so that'll be worth its weight in gold, like really far. People like going into monocles very quickly. It's definitely not necessary over that, so that is a very good alternative. Definitely until you get like a Pat Mark and you want to transpose, or until you get a pitch boss piece.
Okay.
And when it comes to the face accessory, the Dawn face accessory will come into play, and actually because of the 2 set bonus with the slime ring, it actually is mathematically, depending on your class, it's either going to be a little bit better or a little bit worse, but like very close in damage. So that's 2 pieces already replaced for non things. You could, if you want to, hold on to a Dominator and get a High Star Force Dominator as a second pendant. That would be not horrible, of course. But transposing the Dominator into a Sweetwater pendant would be a significant increase that would generally be advised. But you could hold on to a Dominator, wait until you get a Source of Suffering, and then transfer the Dominator into a Superior Pendant by that time for Gollux, and then tap it again and then transfer it over again into Source of Suffering in a similar way that you would do a Kana Treasure Ring, tap it,
Right.
transfer it into a Superior Ring, and then tap it again, transfer it into the Slime Ring for High Star, basically.
Okay.
So I don't think you can totally avoid it unless you're just okay with taking an actual hit on the pendant mainly.
But like, I don't have to be doing Commerci every day for the rest of my life.
No, the main thing with Commerci, and that's why I have the !Commerci command as well, if the bot would be so kind as to actually reply to people, is that there is a way that if you just kind of turn your brain off and brute force in the beginning until you get your boat leveled up to the Dreadnought, then you can basically, by 6 or 7 minutes of dailies, make about 48 dineros a day or something, just from solo voyages, and then you can like hard cash in. And there is... you have to overcome that initial bump for sure, but once you do, you can cash in hard, and because of that, also you don't have to do it every single day, but it's more like okay, I feel like okay, I've clicked part channel like 4 times, fail to part the bot. Oh, and now it's actually replying in the chat. Okay, well now it's gone. Okay,
There we go.
Yeah, so that talks about like how you can make sure that you can level up your boat ASAP, and that's going to require the investment of the dineros anyway. So that coincides very nicely with that you don't want to rely on the accessories early. So all of the dineros just go straight up to the boat, and then once you have the Dreadnought, you can start cashing in hardcore, and then at that time it's just like, okay, there's an event, or the next upgrade realistically is going to be like a High Star Force pendant, or transposing the pendant does make sense now. Then you can go back, and then I mean, even just like a week is going to be like over 300 dineros. So if you need 400 for a pendant, like 2 weeks you have one and you have extra. So it's not as bad then anymore.
Okay, and I do kind of like to like, for some reason the idea of like investing into increasing your ship has this romantic quality to it as well. So that, yeah.
I mean, Dreadnought does look pretty cool. It's like got like gold plates and everything.
Yeah, and it sounds badass.
You look like a legitimate pirate. You can like One Piece cosplay on there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's
Yar! Oh, sorry.
You're hitting it up. We got the sheep girls, the bird girls
Yeah.
cosplaying as One Piece on a pirate ship. Like,
yeah.
That's the
Trying to hit all the check. I've got check boxes too before the progression session. You know, like I'm trying to hit all the niche. Encourage all the kinks to make sure that everyone feels like I'm talking only to you, person listening right now. Okay, it's like only to you.
Maple kink bingo.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah, someone's got their card out. Yeah, bingo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good to know that at least there's something to invest to in Commerci, because it felt bad to kind of just be doing Commerci and just hating it.
In general, that sounds like a thing that wouldn't be positive. Yeah, doing anything and just hating it. It's I would like to help people avoid that as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that like for some reason, like Commerci, when I was playing like back ages ago, it was like presented to me as like this was back when like Sweetwaters were like you had to transpose every living piece of Sweetwater ever.
Well, there's only people were doing the well, they would keep the option out for the monocle if possible, but they would do the earring, right?
Yeah.
And
But
then get two
like back
then wear
even
two
farther,
pennants.
the transpose onto like the Sweetwater set.
Oh yeah, you're talking about tyrant meta into
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, that was
remember
a different
back
time.
then it was just running Commerci, just
Yeah,
it was like a way of life, right?
for sure. And the drops were just 1 in a bajillion, so unless you had all the pieces, you couldn't even try to start. So
Yeah.
you had to throw
Yeah, that was
countless hours at it to
to get anything.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that
Um,
was an era trying to get to 12-star tyrants and transposing into Jesus.
God. Yeah, and then having it boom on 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
The worst part was the gloves, like doing the.
No, I don't want to think about
And
that.
we didn't have the. Oh, you were in you were in GMS back then. Like we didn't have the main source of the anti-magic and of the rocks even, so it was such a slow process. Yeah.
Yeah, those invasions.
I think I had 384 rocks or something out of the 400 for my second glove, and then the changes came through with Star Force. So I was like, well, rip.
that was a fun use of my time.
Yeah, I was like a week or two away from like finishing a second glove and try to YOLO it. But I mean, it could have also just boomed from 5 to 6, so maybe it saved me. I don't know. We'll never know.
Save you mental damage.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I got saved the
Do
scar.
you think there's any value, like if you're leveling like a bossing mule or something, is there ever really any value in doing the like like as for some reason I have this habit of like as I'm leveling, every time I hit 140 I just do the Temple of Time prequest just as I'm leveling. Do you think there is value in doing things as you level, or at this point is it really just like get levels and then retroactively do stuff as you need to do it?
That's how I usually. The latter is how I do it usually. If there's certain content you just enjoy doing and you can get training out of it and you can EXP out of it and it's less boring for you than training, then it's probably fine if you keep doing that. But again, that's like more than 6 months away. But they are changing it also in KMS for the pre-quests to basically be shared within your whole account for a whole lot of stuff, right?
Right.
So. Again, if it's something that you'll enjoy doing, then by all means keep doing it. Don't take things out of the equation that both help and are enjoyable to you. Those should be like the top priority to do, right? Because those are things you look forward to. Those are things that keep you going. They recharge your battery instead of draining your battery. But specifically, there's a lot of content that says when it scales, it actually is in your favor if you do it at a higher level because it doesn't scale as well as your character does. And then going back to it makes it way, way, way faster. Especially if you have access to 5th job skills, you can kill monsters way quicker in Temple of Time. Yeah, just blow them up.
Yeah.
For me, it's also different because I'll just say like, hey, I want to do Temple of Time. Anyone want to join? And there's always like 2 or 3 people, and then you just have a group of people doing it together, and that's way faster than soloing as well.
Okay.
But if you want to, you can always ask in the chat, be like, yo, anyone want to do Temple of Time prequests? And I try to shout it out whenever I see someone doing something like that. So.
I might have a heart attack asking someone else to do that, but definitely consider that.
Okay.
I remember I was playing PoE with one of my friends like way back in the day, and he was part of this guild in Path of Exile, and he's like, "Okay, man, come join the Discord. It'll be great." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure. That sounds so fun." And I
never joined.
I joined. I remember I clicked into the voice chat. I was like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And like no one said anything, and I just like left the call, left the Discord. I was like, I'm done. That's it.
Left the guild, sold my game, moved out of the country, and now I'm in Korea playing game.
Now I'm in Korea.
All because nobody replied in the call. Yeah.
That damn PoE guild.
Yeah. Make sure you level up your social skills as well, guys. Don't forget, okay? Is it more when playing an RPG, important. One of the most important skills to level.
Definitely. Is that a trait? Can I read a 0 book for that one?
Yeah. There's somewhere. It's one of the tabs in the skill window. Yeah.
Right.
Beginner. It's under beginner skills somewhere.
Really, I haven't been putting my points into that one. I'll get right on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe you took like nimble feet. Yeah, you misassigned the AP. Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot. And then you can never reassign them, so it's just yeah.
They don't give you enough points for the beginner skills. That's the problem.
Yeah, Tough choices right off the bat. But I want to throw snail shells. What the fuck? Yeah.
Just imagine you walk up and say hello to someone, and they just throw a snail shell at you. Oh my
And you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Sorry. No, no.
Makes sense.
Say no more. Say no more. Throw no more.
Checks out.
I get it. Yeah. Throw less. Throw less. Okay.
Throw less. Throw less. Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
they
so I
just
think
press
that's-
F2 through F6 to like communicate how they're feeling.
The basic emotes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think I'm pretty like I know exactly what the next steps are. It's pretty much just like level
Mhm.
the Adele, get it to do 10, do my symbols every day. Bump my tamer to 220, get my Laura to 220, get those boxes, figure out what I'm gonna do, one bossing mule, one toss it in the box, never use it again. Keep getting pink bean coins, probably on my Adele, my Shadower, and then one of the two. I don't want to do it on 4 characters. That sounds like hell.
Yeah. Sounds like too much. Yeah.
Then following this event, maintain the Adele, but don't push it, and then work on Legion until it's probably about like 6k.
Mm-hmm.
I would say is probably a decent spot, and then start like turning everything around, funding the Adele, and pushing up levels. I think is probably my plan.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'm guessing
Yeah,
you're
I think-
more intimately familiar with, I guess, like the nuances of when to upgrade everything. I mean, like you saw the guide, plus you do have the KMS experience already, so
Yeah.
where to push and when to push on certain pieces, I think is probably pretty either already knowledge right now or learnable for you soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
in
it seems
general,
like obviously weapon secondary access emblem, you just blast those.
Yeah,
then
pretty much.
probably like rings, like event rings are great for drop. And then like longer term rings like reinforced or superior rings are good. Kana treasure ring is really good.
just accessories in
slime.
general have the best value, the best bang for your buck when
Yeah.
it comes to potential. So you can't really go wrong
And then
with that.
gloves. And then gloves are pretty nasty as
Yeah.
well.
Gloves, you know. It's
Probably-
mainly if you're going to like Star Force wise, it's just like a few more attack here and there. It's mainly if you're going for legendary to get the crit damage. So I mean, basically until you're going into Abzo, it's not that important.
Yeah, because I guess like because you transfer so much before Abso,
Mm-hmm.
it's really
Unique
not
is unnecessary. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not worth pushing it.
that's why I'm saying like WSE to unique to kind of like compensate, like have a little bit of a buffer. Maybe to legendary depending on how quickly you're going. You know, if it's your 4th or 5th character, you immediately push your WSE to legendary because that's just so free. You get a bunch of IED and boss damage and attack from that, and then basically nothing else needs investment. Straight into accessories, and then you can actually just wear WSE and accessories and be completely naked on your character otherwise, and your character will be fine.
It'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you push the emblem in the secondary. For secondary for Adele, is it like this is gonna be a stupid thing because we were talking about like tiny min maxes before. Is it worth waiting for Pinot accessory to blast the potential up?
Probably. I think it's okay to hold like a 6% epic, and then to work immediately on the bosses, and then once you have the Princess Snow one, then move that to legendary on the side until you roll into something nice and then switch over.
Okay.
That's probably going to be fine, yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you get the Phase
And-
weapon early on, because that's going to be a good buffer for damage anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. And Adele is so strong that I can kind of take
Exactly.
some.
Yeah, you can
Take some gaps there.
jumps. Yeah, jump over some other steps that people need to take up the stairs. You just take 2 steps at a time because you won't slow you down. Yeah.
Fun class.
Yep.
Wings of Fate.
Yes.
Is it worth the time?
If you enjoy the content, go for it. Usually, I think it's, again, if you can take more leaps with a character, it's fine to just wait a little bit. HMAG cape is pretty much guaranteed, and that's essentially the same cape, so that's usually what I end up doing. That content is just not
No,
actually
I hate
up my
it.
alley. So yeah, if you hate it, then
No, it's so
Tyrant
bad.
Cape, wait a little bit longer for Tyrant Cape and use that instead.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can think of. Talked about characters, talked about monster collection and familiars,
Mm-hmm.
mules, like
Legion.
stopping grinding at certain points, where to push Shadower for juicing, what to do in the immediate future,
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We talked about Matrix at all, but yeah, that's one of the topics I think that from KMS you're probably pretty familiar with.
yeah, Matrix it makes sense to me. I think it's pretty clear on how it works.
Just
Um,
if there's any topic where you have any questions on, there's probably a command for it in my channel.
yeah, yeah.
And that should eliminate like 95% of the questions you have, and anything that's left over. If you ask it in the chat, by the time I can see it, someone else in chat will probably have already answered you, and they will probably say the exact same thing I will do because they've probably heard me answer it 20 times. Unless it's a really great, unique question, and then they'll probably say like, "I think this, but maybe ask Scardor because I'm not sure what he would say." And then I'll usually see that and then reply. Or if it's something that got overlooked, or you know you don't have time to join stream or something, you can always throw it up on Discord, and then I'll do my best to reply. I try to keep it at a zero alerts in Discord at all time. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel that. Does IED affect monsters, by the way?
Little bit, not significantly enough to worry about. Like the very high level monsters have some PDR, but I think it only goes up to like 50% or something. And by that time, you're going to be always walking around with IED like close to 90 or above, even in full mobbing setup. So it's insignificant at that point.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if it was the exact same.
Might even
Okay,
be 20% or
that's
something. Yeah, it's really low.
it's really low. Okay.
Yep.
That was pretty much everything I was curious about. That
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have no more questions that I can think of.
Well, you have 10 more seconds. Any quick shoutouts? You're unironically like 10 seconds within the time frame, so it's like perfectly timed.
Hi, Mom. I love you.
Hey, look, Ma, I made it. It's like
Look, Mom.
beautiful.
It's probably like,
When are you coming home?
what are you doing?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
is
no.
that a plan in the future to like go back to the Canada?
So
I guess. Or?
so my contract. So I'm teaching in Korea right now.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much like I finished uni, had no idea what I was gonna do. Just headed off to Korea because the food's good, and
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty much it.
They'll do it.
That's all I thought about. And then yeah, my contract ends in June, and I pretty much it was like in Korea, to get a full visa, you have to be here for 4 years,
Mm.
or you have to make a ton of money, and I don't make a ton of money, so I have to be here for 4 years.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And so it was like, do I, like just how we were talking before, like for me, I really need that return on investment. And Korea is like, it's so, because of me being a foreigner, it's very like nebulous as to what happens in 4 years. So I was like, maybe it's not worth investing 4 years. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna be finishing my PhD.
Mm.
So I have another 2 years of my PhD, and that'll be all cracked out. And I just thought that was a much smarter idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that all goes well.
Yeah. No, thank you. I hope that you're killing it on the stream. So.
Yeah, we're trying to set some significant goals for this year. It's kind of like a make or break year for me as well, because it's been steadily going up, but there's specific things that I do want to see some more results in. So I'm trying to set some specific goals for that, just to keep myself honest as well, not get too complacent and like rest on my laurels when it's just, oh yeah, things are generally going well, so I guess we'll just keep chugging along, trying to.
That's so hard to do, right? It's
Yeah.
so hard to like know that everything's okay, but still grind. It's hard.
Yeah, well, it's the other thing also, like being self-employed and stuff, and it just because it's going okay now doesn't mean that in 6 months it can't just like plump, like fall apart in some kind of way. So you want to make sure that you stay vigilant, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with like the way everything is going, like
Mhm.
even being self-employed, you have no idea, like with Corona and with the
Yep.
economies bouncing around, it's nuts.
Exactly, because there was definitely a huge uptick once the first quarantines and stuff came, and it's been probably steadily going up because of that. But let's say that everything just opened up back up and went like pretty back to normal. That would definitely be very noticeable if I don't. And definitely feel like in the last almost 2 years now, I probably haven't capitalized on it as hard as I could have, as like bad as that sounds. But I mean, yeah, you have to kind of plan for the future there, right? Just like you do with the progression sessions in game, you also have to plan for the future in real life. So
Yeah, yeah, and also just like you were saying, like before, like in game, when you see a number go down, you know why it goes down, but it still sucks, you know.
Yeah, especially if you feel like you could have done something to maybe anticipate it and cushion the blow of it happening.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
What is that cliche? Like hindsight is 2020, right?
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
okay.
I think I'm good. It's 6:32 in the morning.
Nice. Oh god.
I'm gonna make an Adele.
When is your first when is your first teaching session? Is like in an hour and a half. You got your first student.
Oh no, this is the weekend. Thank God. So I got.
Oh, true.
I got
yeah, going
2
into
days
Saturday.
off.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Nice,
I get to. It's actually so bad. I was like, just yesterday, I finally fixed my sleep schedule. Getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, going to class.
Nice.
It is almost 8 o'clock in the morning right now.
Yeah, it could go. It could go south so fast. It takes like 3 weeks to fix the sleep schedule. It takes 2 days to ruin it again.
Yep.
I know that. I hear you. Okay. Well, good luck with your Adele.
Thank you.
And with the sun coming up soon.
I'll be lurking for sure.
All right.
Talking chat a few times. Thank you so much. This is super helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. There you go. That was what I was trying to say. You're welcome. And and best of luck on everything. Okay.
Thank you so much, man. Best of luck to you too.
Thank you. See ya. Bam. All right. There we go. Soon I will be drawing the winners for the December sessions. Right. All the people who left comments that they would like to win a December. A session in December. But every month we still draw 2 winners. So if you would like to win, make sure that you leave a comment that you would like to win a free session on this video. I am not tired. I am great at outros. Stop. Yes, with all that being said, if you're looking for specific resources for specific things that we mentioned here, make sure you check out the Twitch chat and use the commands, and hopefully the bot will actually reply to you. I think it was replying again, and if it doesn't, just let me know, and we shall fix it. Bob the Builder. What else? We're still working on stuff outside of stream. But yeah, we're going to be doing a subathon soon. We're trying to gather all of the lists of what kind of stuff we would like to see as goals. So if you want any input on that, make sure you join the stream and be part of the process for that. And other than that, we're trying to stay on point with all of the KMS stuff. So look forward to a lot of uploads regarding all of the stuff going on in KMS with the test servers, with all of the communications that they're having, the character reworks, all of that stuff. Okay, a lot of stuff coming out. So I'm trying my best to cover all of that in a meaningful way. So it might not be like right on the day that everything comes out. It might take a little bit, but I'm doing my best. But yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. Hopefully it was informational for you guys. If you want one of these sessions and you want to win, make sure you leave a comment if you're okay with paying for it and you want to cut the line and immediately get put on the schedule. Make sure you check the description of the video on how to request one of these sessions with me. And other than that, I will thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.